So, if someone were to ask me where I'm from, the conventional answer would be Middletown, New York. That might not mean anything to you, but if you were from anywhere around there and you heard my last name, you'd likely say, "Oh, you must be Dr. Gillman's son." And you already like me. Long after my dad was gone, it just amazed me at how much cachet my last name had. It seemed like everybody knew what a great skin doctor he was and what a mensch he was. And not as many people knew my mom, but anybody did admired her at least as much. So it was an incredible gift having a parentage and a name that was so well respected in the community. And in terms of, it was like a shortcut to opening doors and influencing people. To give you an idea of who these parents were, I'll give you little short snippets of them. One time when I was a kid, a little boy and part of a Cub Scout group, my dad was driving a station wagon full of us to this historical site in Virginia called Colonial Williamsburg. And all of us boys were really excited as we were approaching the entrance booth because we knew how they were going to charge us. They're going to look in the window, see how many of us there are, and then charge us accordingly. So we had the plan to squirrel away the smallest one of us underneath all the luggage completely out of sight. And it's hard to believe, I was really small when I was a kid, smaller than all my friends, but there was one even smaller than me, and he was the one that was squirreled away. And my dad knew how much he should pay, and he didn't say anything. He just paid the proper amount to the attendant as we went in, and the attendant's trying to give him some change back. But my dad doesn't say anything, just waves them off and drives in. Now, no one else noticed that, but I'm really glad I wasn't the one who was squirreled away because I witnessed it. And I realized it was a model of integrity for me. And also, I realized he did it in such a way that he didn't spoil our fun. Well, when I was young, my dad wasn't well for a while, and he wasn't able to work for quite a stretch of time. And he was already struggling to support a wife and four kids, and he didn't have any disability insurance. What he did have was five colleagues who were within a 2 hour radius of where his practice was, and each one of these physicians took a day off of work a week from their practice, drove to my father's office, covered all of his patients, and gave that money to him until he was well enough to get back on his feet. That's an incredible insurance policy. It's not one that's available to anybody except one who's earned an incredible amount of respect and love from his colleagues. And he also got that from his patients because he was so personable, and he had this great memory, so he could remember everything about his thousands of patients that he had. So when they came in months after their last appointment, he'd pick up on what they'd been talking about, and it really endeared him. And later in life, when he was in a hospital, after a heart attack, it was amazing to see the outpouring of cards that came to him. There's just hundreds and hundreds, and they had these handwritten notes thanking him for his personal touch and how much he meant to them and wishing him well. Well, it was after a visit with my mom when we were reading these cards to him that we left and we went down to the parking lot. And after my mom got to the car, she turned around to go back in. And I said, "Oh, did you forget something?" And she said, "No, no. I was on the payphone before we left, and the operator said that I needed to put another 10 cents in, and I didn't have it. So now I do. I'm going back to putting a dime." I said, "Mom, the phone call's over. You can just forget about it." She says, "No." She said, "I needed another dime, and I don't have it. Now I have it." I thought she was crazy, but God love her. Well, there it eventually came to a point where after the last heart attack that we knew he was not coming home, and there was this really tentative period of time where his medical practice needed to be sold because the way those sales work, they have to be sold while the owner is still alive. As soon as the owner is passed, there's nothing to sell. So my mother should have been able to charge a lot more for that practice than what she was, but the value is based entirely on tax returns. It doesn't matter what someone could earn if they charged the going rate or didn't let their patients pay whatever they could afford. So it was listed, and a young physician was really interested in this practice, and I considered him a vulture. And he made a decent offer to my mom, and she rejected it. She didn't like him. She has a good sense about people. He was, for one thing, he was really into expensive cosmetic surgery, which he could make a lot of money from. My father had no interest in that. He just wanted to make people well. She also didn't appreciate the way he was dealing with a woman who was about to lose her husband of 35 years. So she sized him up, and he kept raising the offer, and she kept refusing him, and she wasn't getting any other offers. And her entire financial security rested on one thing, and that was the sale of this practice. And she was not accepting the one offer she was getting. We were pleading with her to take it, please. Any minute this could be nothing to sell, and she's not going to have any cushion. It's like she finally said, "My husband cultivated this practice for 3 decades, and I am not going to sell it to some insensitive mercenary brat, no matter how much he offers me." Well, certainly shut us up. And while each day is going by, and we're biting our nails, you know, an older gentleman came out of the woodwork, cut of the same cloth as my dad, the same kind of personal old-time doctor, and bought the practice in the nick of time. So is the point of those stories to brag about my parents? Well, I don't mind, maybe, but a better answer to where I'm from is who I'm from. And having these parents who are such paragons of virtue, it's a challenge. I mean, I'm never going to live up to that standard, and sometimes I think, wouldn't it be a lot easier to be the product of some, low down, shady, good for nothings? But I've got 2 kids. Someday one of them goes up to them and says, "Oh, you must be Jackson Gillman's kid." I just hope they're as proud of who and where they're from as I am. So it is a challenge. It is a challenge to live up to that standard, and but we do our best to model for our kids. And I have to say that I learned a lot from my parents, and I am learning so much from my kids. Who are the models here? Let me give you some snapshots of my daughter. When she was a kid, she had her own vocabulary that she made up for all kinds of things. Like, she wanted to be more breastfed, she'd say, "Nummy, nummy." Or if she wanted some milk from the refrigerator, "Mocha gaga." Or if she was having trouble with some project or putting something together, she'd say, "Oh, ABK, ABK, ABK." And we never knew what ABK stood for, but we knew what it meant. She needed help. And if she had a little mishap, her call was she'd spill some milk. She'd go, "Oopity, can you clean it up for me, Daddy?" "Yeah, I think so." Or she'd break a little toy of hers, and she'd go, "Oopity, can you fix it for me, Daddy?" Or maybe she'd break something of mine that was really valuable and couldn't be fixed, and I might be inclined to rage, but I couldn't, because she'd go, Oopity. And that little, refrain became very common in our family, and it also exemplified her resiliency. Like, don't sweat the small stuff. Dad can probably fix it, and if not, anyhow, it's not worth worrying about. And it has retained throughout her whole life. It's amazing, and it's become a catchphrase in our family. So fast forward to after she's finished with high school and she's got taken a gap year before college. And this is giving me an opportunity to travel alone with her for the first time. And I wanted her to visit some friends of mine in California, including some giant redwood trees there. And we had a lovely visit, and we had one more day free to do whatever we wanted. And we were in the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, and I was going to let her choose which of the many different, options to choose from there. And she really wanted to see the Japanese gardens, and so did I. So we agreed, and we got to the place, and we thought we were just going to waltz in and look around, but ooh, there was an admission booth, and it was, well, more than we expected, and we weren't sure, we could kind of conferred quietly, do you still want to go in, or what do you think? And she goes, hey, Dad, I noticed students 17 and under and seniors 65 and over, it's a lot cheaper. And we're each only 1 year off. So I'm thinking, I was surprised she came up with that idea, but I didn't know quite what to do with it. And I thought, well, do I want to spoil her fun? I realized the ball's in my court, so I go up to the booth and I say, that'll be one student and one senior. And the attendant, who was a distinguished older gentleman, looked a little skeptical and looked at my daughter and said, and what year were you born? And I'm really curious as how she's going to answer this, because I don't know whether or not my daughter's ever tried to go into a bar underage. And if she has, she's probably been asked that question and is prepared to answer it, because the bouncer can tell immediately if there's a furtive glance or if there's a little pause before the answer, they're lying. But even if she hasn't been asked that question before on the spot, she's going to be able to nail this because she's always been good at math, and she was born in the year 2000, or how hard could it be? So sure enough, she doesn't miss a beat, and she's going to adjust the year 1 year the wrong way and immediately says 1999. And he looks at her and says, that doesn't make you 17. Oop-a-dee-dee. And if she had said ABK at that point, I would have said, I'm sorry, honey, I can't fix that one. I can't believe how stupid she was. Everything. She's been out of school for just a couple of months, and all her math skills just went right out the window. So anyhow, I know what's coming next, and I know that I'm a terrible liar. But I'm not going to have to lie, because I know in my pocket, in my wallet, I've got a senior pass for the national park system, because I use it all the time because I live near Acadia National Park. So I'm just going to whip that out, show them, and I got this when I was 62. I was eligible, even though I wasn't 65 yet. I could just flash them my card. But it's taken me so damn long to take the thing out that he says, and what year were you born? And I know she went the wrong way, so I'm going to go the other way, which isn't the way I should, and I immediately adjust it. I say 1955, and he says, that doesn't make you 65. I said, yes, it does. I said, it doesn't? Like, oh, whoop, did you? And the two of us, my daughter and I, look at each other and just lose it. We are just laughing, just busting our gut. We have to pull ourselves aside for a while and get over it. When we finally get over it and go back to the gentleman, he says, I'm sorry, that will be two adults, which just sets us off again because we don't feel like adults. We're just laughing like little kids trying not to pee in our pants. Oh, so when we finally go in, we realize that you don't just waltz in there. There are these scheduled tours, and we're right in time for another one. They've got this formal tour with a docent, and they're touch pointing things out. And we are just such terrible participants in this because we can't. Every once in a while, we catch each other's eye, and just go. We have to go off in the bushes and laugh for a while, compose ourselves, and come back. Oh, so eventually we get through this whole tour and we're about to leave. And I realize that was an epic fail at modeling integrity from my daughter. But I'm trying to redeem myself just a little bit. And I think on the way, hey, Jillian, let's talk to the guy on the way out and tell him our story. He says, no, no, no. I said, no, I think it'll be okay. No, no, please don't. No, 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 no. So I go to the guy, I chat him up, and we tell him our side of the story. And he's saying, boy, you guys are so bad at this, and we're all laughing together. And we're having a grand time. And at that point, yeah, I missed my cue for modeling integrity, but I didn't spoil her fun. As a matter of fact, we got so much fun out of that story, and still, anytime we think about it, we laugh. And well, that was my ABK for that little. That was the best I could do for that particular. Okay, so that's a little snapshot of me and my generations on either side.
Thank you very
And that
much.
doesn't relate to the stories I'll be telling for our workshop, but that is where I'm from or who I'm from.
Thank you very, very much. It's a fun family story.
It was great. It was, just I don't know. When someone is able to share joy, you know, and share truth, um, it really just leaves such a nice place for you, right? It just leaves a nice place. And that's what you did with your father. It was, what's the truth here? Do I need the money and sell my soul? You know, and in the end, the universe showed up and gave you that you didn't have to choose. But some people aren't so lucky. But that whole story about your father was who he was. What did you say? I wrote it down. I thought it's where I'm from than who I am from, right?
And a better answer to where I'm from is who I'm from.
Yeah, better answer. And I just thought that is so true. I mean, and you honored that. And then you gave the other side of the spectrum with you being who you were, right? And so that was such a gift because who you are is a very funny, lovable, maybe somewhat corrupt individual, maybe not. I mean, but still joyful, embraced, and because we're all not perfect, we appreciate that you aren't perfect. I mean, your father being so perfect, it's hard, right? But you being not so perfect, we can relate to that better. It's just easier. So thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Okay, well, Jackson, shall we launch into the next section?
Okay. I'm telling a story at the top, and I'm just wondering if people are plugging in at 8:30, whether we should stall a little bit or not, because I'm modeling what I want to happen at the top of this. Um, So